What is happening, guys? This is Billy from Movie Cricket. I am absolutely pumped today. It was E3 yesterday, and we have got so much good stuff to talk about. This is going to be a quick E3 update from the Microsoft, EA and Sony presentations. With me today is my gaming expert and colleague, Rhys Gibson. Say hello, Rhys.
Woo-woo!
Here he is.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Rhys is pumped as well, so yeah, let's get straight into some gaming news. I want to talk about Star Wars Battlefront first, Rhys. How were you about Star Wars Battlefront?
Pretty hyped, man. It looked really good. It was everything we wanted. Basically, hopefully we want a Battlefield rehash, but in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And
it pretty much looked like that was what we were going to get.
It looked absolutely awesome. In the video, EA and DICE presented Battlefront. DICE presented the video, which was kind of like a developer / construction video giving a tease for the game. The guy actually said Star Wars belongs to everyone that loves this beautiful Star Wars universe, and now DICE has the opportunity to make the game which as fans we have all dreamt of playing. Have they succeeded? We've got to wait and see, but the trailer looked absolutely awesome. We saw warriors, walkers. We saw they shot on location for a lot of it to get the feel and the emotion inside of the game, and we saw an early generation of the engine that they're going to use, and it looked mind-blowing. Like the environment, the textures, that looked awesome.
Yeah, Hoth looked amazing, and it looked like they'd done stuff on the moon of Endor as well from Return of the Jedi, which
Knowledge.
Looked awesome.
Star Wars knowledge.
Speeders and bikes and stuff, so hopefully if they keep it up, and hopefully come spring next year we'll have the game that we've waited for years since the PS2 game.
We're massive Battlefield fans, we play pretty much every night, and if we get a Battlefront game in the essence of that, like with the destruction, trees falling down and mountains toppling with snow going everywhere, that'd be amazing. It's still unclear what sort of classes we're going to play as. Like, is it going to be troopers? Is it going to be Jedi? Is it going to be rebels? We don't really know that yet. We did see a rebel on a speeder.
Did see a stormtrooper
and a trooper head
as well.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see what comes out. But we are expecting a lot more news on Battlefront, which is out in the spring of next year. So speaking of Battlefield, let's talk about Battlefield Hardline, ladies and gentlemen. It looked, again, this was probably my highlight actually. Maybe not for the trailer, but for the impact it had on me, I lost my mind.
Simply because of the fact that it wasn't an animation of the game, it was a gameplay trailer, it was huge, the scale of it looked massive.
Yeah.
And it was literally it was if you had a wet dream about what your Counter-Strike game wanted to be like when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And they made it, and it was amazing. It was so good.
So, for those that don't know, Battlefield Hardline is kind of going to be a cops and robbers game where you have your two factions again going head to head on the multiplayer. EA treated us to a trailer, a gameplay trailer taken straight from a multiplayer game from the perspective of both sides. And it's had a few tweaks, it's had a few new introductions. It's essentially still your classic Battlefield. Something that sticks out in my head was when the cops were taking down the robbers, and instead of you just knife them in Battlefield, they took them down and cuffed them and put them on the floor.
That was good.
I thought that was really cool. Something else I noticed, all the guns were a little bit different. The cops' guns looked a little bit more high tech. The robbers were kind of just
basic stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was quite cool. I like that idea.
Baseball bat at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, the cop was hitting with a baseball bat. That was awesome.
It just looks a bit more nitty, a bit more gritty and dirty than Battlefield, where
Definitely.
Battlefield's full-on army fighting. This was more you use whatever you can in the map to beat the other team.
There's a lot of close quarter stuff in there.
A lot of cool stuff like zip lines.
Yeah,
and
that was awesome.
Dropping onto motorbikes and stuff to get away and stuff like that. It was really good.
Yeah, so I think this is it's going to be our first serious next-gen Battlefield game. It's clearly designed purely for next-gen. Battlefield 4 came out and it is awesome. It's a wicked game, but there's still the destruction's fantastic. Obviously Call of Duty don't get anywhere near it on that, but it's still also made for
it's an upscale.
It's an upscale, yeah. So yeah, all these trailers, by the way, are on the site, so you can head over and check them out. I seriously recommend checking out the Battlefield, because at the end, what happened, Rhys? At the end of that presentation, what was announced?
That you could get beta access straight away.
Straight away, ladies and gentlemen.
Which was pretty... I don't think I've ever seen that before at E3, where you've had someone turn around and say, I tell you what, you can play it right now in your house. You don't have to be downstairs in the forums at E3. You can play it right now.
You're right.
So we had a bit of a clamour to get to our PlayStations, and
oh god, I embarrassed myself.
some of us did and some of us didn't, sadly. But what we
I did eventually. Rhys didn't, guys.
But after, like, what you can say about it is that Battlefield is seriously wanting to push to what more towards like PlayStation than Xbox. But it seems a bit like they said.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 players got straight away access to the hardline. Obviously, it was a small beta, but still, I mean, you didn't see that at Xbox.
Nah, well, I think the main thing for that is that they were promoting the PlayStation gameplay in that trailer.
Yeah.
And they were saying, 1080p, not a problem. He did, however, say that it's more difficult to achieve on Xbox One. So it's a continued problem for Xbox that they're struggling with the capability of the PlayStation 4. And it's proven that by the beta being on PlayStation rather than Xbox. So if you've got the beta for Hardline, let us know, tell us what you think of it. We're going to be playing it, and we'll hopefully bring you some gaming videos from that this week. I'll probably be on that tonight, so we'll do an update straight away in the morning. Let's move on to another game. You played Grand Theft Auto 5, right, Rhys?
Yeah, man.
What did you think of that on last gen?
It was good. I had it on 360 and it looked pretty amazing. Gameplay's really good. Everything you wanted from a Grand Theft Auto game, except obviously they introduced this thing of like you had multiple characters to play different storylines through the game, and
you know what? When it first came out, I was worried. I thought I'm not going to enjoy this. Honestly, it's the best Grand Theft Auto I've ever played by a mile.
I still think Vice City for me was the best.
Do you really?
But for a new concept in Grand Theft Auto, the 3-player system was amazing.
Wow. See, it blew me away, Grand Theft Auto in 5, that is, and having it come back on next gen, like you were saying, you don't really see the point, didn't you?
I think it's like I'm not as excited as it for other things. Obviously, it's the same game, it's the same missions. They're just going to look a bit prettier.
So I think they will introduce new things as a standard. I would have thought as well.
The
upscale looks phenomenal, and I think the other thing we can also expect is that the online game is probably going to be better.
I never played it online, to be fair.
I give it a go, and I almost smashed my console within the first couple of weeks because it just wouldn't work. Like, you couldn't get past this first mission where you were in a car park trying to get in a car. You did a race, and I couldn't do anything after that. Like, it's just really poor, so it didn't work very well. But I will definitely try it out on PS4. So I'm pretty excited about Grand Theft Auto 5. I've got to be honest. That is out. I will check when that is out.
You'd obviously hope as well that if they're bringing it to Xbox One and PS4, that they must have stuff like DLC lined up, new missions, new storylines.
Yeah, definitely
in place for that, because they won't just bring out the same game.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do something similar to like Last of Us are doing, where they're bringing out all the DLC in with the original game, upscaled up to the PS4 and Xbox.
Yeah, it'll probably be like an ultimate version. They did know that the game will run on 60 frames per second on PlayStation 4 and decent PCs. They didn't mention Xbox again, but this is a monumental leap in graphics quality, so that would be amazing. 1080p is a standard obviously on PlayStation 4. But one thing I would like to know about this is I think this is the beginning of the end already for Watch Dogs. Like, it's come out, it's sold 4 million odd copies, which is amazing. I won't deny it. That is outstanding. But Grand Theft Auto is still the leading competitor, and now that's coming to next gen. The market for Watch Dogs is going to get slimmer. Apparently, I've not played it all the way through. I've only played about an hour of Watch Dogs, so I can't comment too much. But every review I've kind of read is, it's a decent game, and what it does well. But the leading competitors like GTA, like Saints Row, they're still a clear niche. Infamous, they're just better. They're just generally better. And it wasn't a next gen game by any means. So
having watched you play it, it looked
like
the idea and the concept was amazing. A little bit like Titanfall, except they just didn't. It seems like it had so much more it could have done.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like all you ever did on Watch Dogs was look at a camera and press square.
Yeah, Well,
go through
I've looked
and
in
do something else.
There are loads of little side missions, and it's a massive game, so I probably will put more hours into it. But GTA has me a lot more excited. Right, Sony last night introduced the new Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. This, in terms of graphics, absolutely blew me away. Sony were actually hilarious all the way through their presentation, starting every video with the fact that all these trailers were taken directly from a PlayStation 4, whereas Xbox and Microsoft, every single video was a cinematic. It was an animation movie. Cheers for that, Microsoft. You kept me entertained for 90 minutes, but you're not Pixar. Sony give every video straight from PlayStation 4. They showed you what the console's capable of, and the results for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End were outstanding. Like the trailer's very brief, it's only really a teaser, but you see the textures, you see the engine that the game's going to be played on, and it really is amazing. Nathan Drake's returning as the protagonist. It's also teased as the last in the series, so like they've kept repeating one last time. So that could be it for Uncharted after this one, we're not sure. But it looks awesome, so definitely check that out. What else have we got to discuss? Batman. Have you played the Arkham games, Rhys?
Never, ever played Arkham
Oh
games.
my god, Rhys!
I've seen you play them countless times, and they do look amazing, but I was never really a gamer like hand-to-hand combat. But
it's Assassin's Creed with Batman.
Yeah, I was just about to say, having played the latest Assassin's Creed, that was amazing. So maybe this new Batman game, especially with like the new Batmobile, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
The game didn't look unbelievably awesome, as in graphics-wise, but it's more about the gameplay than it is how it looks. And you want close combat fighting where it's technical, your fighting skills are tested.
Yeah.
And it did look like that was what it'd give you.
You know what, like I'm a massive Arkham series fan, and having Rocksteady return for this game, I think they're also making the third game, Arkham Origins, as not part of the canon for the Arkham series, which is pretty interesting. But Arkham Knight's returning. Batman is kind of becoming a bit like Iron Man with his new suit. There's a lot of metal going on. The Batmobile battle mode has been introduced in this trailer from E3, and that looks awesome. You're going to be able to drive the Batmobile around Gotham for the first time. It's got a combat mode where you can switch the wheels around and its manoeuvrability is increased, and you get guns. So that looks cool. It looks darker, it looks slicker, it looks more efficient. I think this will be an awesome game to look out for next year. It's been pushed back by 6 months to next spring, but I think it's well worth waiting for. The trailer teases Scarecrow as the main villain. So, and if you've played the Arkham games, you know how cool that is. His particular combat and fight scenes are so eerie, and they're artistic in the way they're presented, and more like an arcade game, so that could be cool. Gotham landscape looks incredible.
It did look big.
It looks massive. So I really think Arkham Knight will be a game to watch out for next year. Let's go back to Microsoft and talk a little bit more about Assassin's Creed, seeing as we're talking about Batman. So Assassin's Creed Unity was announced a couple of months ago. At E3, Microsoft and Ubisoft. I thought I was going to pronounce it wrong then. It is Ubisoft. Ubisoft. They announced Assassin's Creed Unity. In the trailer, the most notable thing about that was the new 4-player co-op, which kind of redefines the series in an essence. I think it's something it really needed.
I think it was potentially the best game shown last night.
Do you think? That's interesting.
The new Assassin's Creed was amazing. It was really big, a lot more interactive, and this one looked even more towards like you can do anything you want in the map. Like with 4 of you, the combat it showed us in the setting of Paris in the French Revolution. It used like the architecture looked unbelievable. You saw like classic scenes from the French Revolution where they were facing off against each other, and the assassins were just kind of like interweaving in between people, and you then obviously got the classic Assassin's Creed fight scenes with small knives and like acrobatics and stuff like that. And I literally think it was the best game shown last night.
It was definitely interesting. From the trailer, you saw the engine capabilities coming through. We're not sure if obviously it was Microsoft. We're not sure if it was an Xbox One directly taken from that console. It was more likely a PC rendered video. But you had your assassin weaving through a crowd. There must have been hundreds of people in this crowd, and there wasn't a single flicker. The new parkour systems, they look awesome. You can grapple up buildings unlike ever before. It's not a sort of linear, you have to reach for a straight edge. It doesn't seem like that anymore.
The acrobatics have evolved a lot more as well by the looks
of it. It's very fluid, isn't it? So that's definitely a game to look out for.
In tight streets and stuff. There was like a game, there was a trailer, wasn't there, which was like a classic Assassin's Creed trailer, and then there was a small gameplay, and the gameplay did look a lot more fluid than I think Assassin's Creed's ever looked before. Everything just seemed to go from like one movement to the next a lot smoother, and interactivity with characters was a lot better. Like people were everywhere, literally. Like obviously in the streets of Paris, it was a lot more. It felt a lot more closed in compared to like the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
The last instalment where you're in the Caribbean, it was big open spaces. It seemed like they tried to close it in and give you a lot more environment to use in your fights and how you traverse around the city and stuff like that. It's going to blow people away, I think.
It looked a little bit more than a sequel. I think that's the main thing to take from it. It didn't just look like a brand new rehash of a former Assassin's Creed game. It actually looked unique, and it's had a lot more thought put into it, and especially with this multiplayer, that looks like it's going to breathe new life into the franchise. So that's an exciting thing to wait out for. EA introduced a lot of other things. I'm going to skip over a few of these games because we don't really have too much time to talk about all of them, but The Sims 4 looks pretty cool. The control you're going to have over characters in Sims 4 is going to be like never before. The emotional weight that your characters carry on from day to day looks a lot more in depth. The cities look bigger. The options that you can do with your character look a lot bigger.
Character interactivity looked really good.
Yeah, it looked a lot more in depth, didn't it? So fans of the Sims franchise, you can definitely be excited for Sims 4. That looks really cool. Check that out from EA. Mirror's Edge. Have you ever played Mirror's Edge?
Very briefly on the PS3, and it's very similar in a way to like Assassin's Creed, except it's more it's quicker. Right. As in your fighting is done while you're on the move, and the girl, I think she's called
Faith.
Yeah. She was like a free runner, parkour, using all the environment to take down her enemies, and the new video looked really clean, and obviously it was a very early gameplay video, and I mean it was by far the finished product, but it looked like they'd taken what they had in the first Mirror's Edge and just generally just made it a lot more polished and refined towards the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Yeah, like I've never played Mirror's Edge, so I'm struggling to sort of compare this to anything. But it didn't quite grab my attention, Mirror's Edge, I'll be honest. But it did a lot better than perhaps the worst titled video game of all time, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on that, Rhys?
See, I've seen from the first of the new Tomb Raider games. It looked quite good. It played all right. I thought it wasn't anything breathtaking, but I always find that with Tomb Raider games, can you really get anything different from the original formula you set out?
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Like, how is a new game going to change the way you play, or is it going to do anything different to the last Tomb Raider? I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raider is like you said,
it's such a rubbish
really
name.
Poor name.
Like, interesting name. Jim, who's usually on the podcast, he's a big Tomb Raider fan. He had the games on PlayStation and on PlayStation 4, and I'm sure he'd stand by the engine of the game and that it's got a future in terms of a franchise. But we couldn't stop laughing when this title got announced. It's such a bad game title, so I'm going to skip over that. There's not much more to say about that. It was more of a teaser trailer. Halo, Rhys.
Halo's definitely one for you Xbox One fans. Obviously, Halo is the big Xbox franchise. It's been around for like over a decade now. It's sold millions of copies, and they're bringing out obviously this new like Halo Guardians, like the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, whether
Nightfall as well.
Whether you Xbox fans are happy with having everything all in one go, as in but then you have to pay again while you wait for the new next gen Halo game. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'd be too impressed having to like spend all your money again. But I do know that the Halo contingent are very loyal. You love the game. I mean, for Xbox One, it is a massive thing to bring Halo to the next gen. So I mean, for Microsoft, it's their big player, I think, compared to like games like Uncharted for Sony and stuff like that, when Halo is the big one for Xbox. I mean,
yeah, it was definitely the biggest title they were waiting to introduce. I can't help but think that this Master Chief Collection is just a massive cash-in. Like I'm not a particularly big fan of Halo games at all. I've played them all, but they've never really grabbed me. And the idea of selling all of the games again, fair enough, they're on a next gen, but I can't see people being that into this idea. And Microsoft was selling it as you get hundreds of maps, you're going to get all these maps and new games, and you get to play Halo 2 again. I don't give a shit. Like, I've done it already. 100 maps. It's just 100 maps that I've already done, and it's not a selling point for me. That I'm sure some people will be really into this idea, but I suppose that then GTA is getting remastered.
Literally just about to say remasters are becoming quite a common thing. Obviously now that we have the next gen games and things.
I don't know. I just don't think that it's they're doing Halo 5, obviously Guardians as well, and that's what I think they should have led with here. That's the whole point. But they kind of skipped over Guardians and they gave us a teaser trailer and then spent the next 10 minutes talking about this Master Chief Collection and how it was a reward to the Halo fans. And I just think this is a vintage Microsoft move where they're kind of screwing fans over a little bit by using the name of Halo. And it's the biggest title they've got, and they just seem to be bleeding it dry with bringing out the old games again as a big feature. If they were just doing it as a DLC, maybe that'd be sound like. Just have it as just come and if you want to play the old games, buy Guardians, and we'll give you them on next gen.
Yeah, so perfect like that.
Here's a reward to you guys. It's not a reward because you're going to charge them 50, 60, 70 quid
exactly.
for this game.
It should have been like, you've stuck with us through the times where we haven't had a next gen Halo game.
Yeah.
Bang, here we go, next gen Halo, best game we've ever done Xbox One, and there's a little bit of a present. We're going to revamp everything up to a HD standard.
Yeah.
You can play all the other games again. You can have unlimited interactivity online with them again and stuff. And I think that would have been something that they really should have looked at, instead of, like you said, trying to make money from Halo fans.
I wasn't impressed with Halo at all, and I think that's what Microsoft were really leading with. We'll come back and do a summary of each of the developers' presentations at the end. Couple more games to go over. Another Microsoft game with Lion's Head is Fable Legends. Now, I'm a massive fan of the Fable franchise. I loved the first game. The second game was decent. The third game was poor, and whatever that was on Kinect, that was just outrageously bad. Like, that was in danger of damaging the reputation that Fable had accomplished over the years. I was pretty excited to see what Microsoft are going to do, Lion's Head are going to do with Fable Legends. It looked like a new take on Fable, which I thought was quite cool. Graphics wise, it looks really nice. It's got the same style, it's got the same feel of the sort of fairy tale. It works really nice. But they're introducing multiple heroic characters this year. 2 girls, 2 guys. And you've got to play as these people, and they work as a team, and it just, I don't know, I don't like the idea.
Feels like Grand Theft Auto 5 pre-release all over again.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if I'll play Fable Legends, obviously, because I don't have an Xbox One, but it's not for me, the essence of Fable is all about you being the hero. You're the hero.
Character development.
You start off as a basically irrelevant character with heroic potential, and you build this character and you become the hero of the game, and that's what it's about for me. And now you've got 3 other heroes around you. I just don't think you're going to have that scale of you're the guy anymore. So it'll be interesting to see where they take this anyway. I will keep an eye on it because, like I say, I'm a big fan of the franchise. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because it's got me very split. I'm very biased towards wanting Fable to succeed, but
it could be that potentially is make or break.
It was underwhelming. That's my main summary. It was an underwhelming presentation. So we'll see where that goes. We also had during the Microsoft presentation, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now I wanted to end on this one because I absolutely hate Call of Duty. I'll just say it. I despise Call of Duty massively. It's an arcade game and it just fails in representing a modern shooter for me, whereas Battlefield succeeds. So in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, they give us a new trailer as well as, I think it was about 10 minutes worth of gameplay from the multiplayer. And something that, the first thing that really sucked me in with this was like, oh, the voice acting is awesome. I'm well impressed with this voice acting. It sounds great. They're having a bit of banter, they're ordering each other about. This is really natural. I'm really enjoying it. And then I kind of remembered, oh wait a minute, this is multiplayer. And it turned out that these were just more or less scripted people on the other end of a microphone playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And it just summarised it for me. Like, it's presenting it as this new dynamic game, and it's anything but. It's a rehash of any normal Call of Duty game with a new skin, put in the future, a few new digital upgrades where your gun's got your bullet count and you've got droids running around. I don't know. It just looks shit, guys. I'm really not into Call of Duty. And the other thing as well is that it literally looks like Titanfall. All the way through, I was just thinking, that looks like Titanfall. This new parkour thing they've introduced looks like Titanfall. And it just seems like the modern shooter can't get away from this new Titanfall engine where things have got to be obsessed with the future and new weaponry and things. I'm not that into it.
They've all got a bit of samey at the moment, haven't they? As in, like, it's all based around like how many kills you get, and I think that's the way that like some gamers are going now. Some gamers like to just jump into a game. Like, I'll admit, I played Call of Duty all the way through to like Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And then it started to get a little bit boring, and it was just like, oh, here we go, let's try and get to 5 kills online so I can get my perks, and then you get your little helicopter and stuff like that. But I mean, and then obviously like it kind of just got a little bit repetitive every year, and it felt like you were essentially buying a DLC every November.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that Call of Duty is a massive game, and it's obviously,
I can't deny that. It's a massive sale.
It's obviously one of the biggest games franchises of all time, and it will consistently sell. But
I just think it's for dumb gamers.
It looks like this time it's like the first real game that they could have really gone and changed it. Obviously, like the first next gen installment that was built for next gen. They really could have done something interesting.
Side note, it didn't look next gen though.
Yeah.
Once again, the trailer from Microsoft did not look next gen whatsoever. Like there was no destruction from what I saw again, which is there's no excuse for no destruction anymore. Look like what Battlefield are achieving.
It's so basic. Like Call of Duty and is it it's usually Activision and the other one, isn't it? I forgot what they're called. But they could have done something like completely revolutionised the Call of Duty franchise and made it a bigger multiplayer experience and made it more interactive and made you feel more part of the game. But instead, I think they've just gone back to basics, and I suppose they're just sticking with what sells for them. It sells amazingly well, and
it's safe and it's boring. Titanfall of Duty Advanced Warfare, ladies and gentlemen. That is what this new Call of Duty game is going to be. By all means, if you're a Call of Duty fan, check it out, but I would definitely wait till it at least drops in price. So, yeah, let's do a summary then. I'm quite happy talking about all those games, so let's start with Microsoft. They were the first to lead off. Microsoft, they were the first to go, and they presented some interesting games, but my general opinion of the Microsoft presentation was complete underwhelming. It didn't bring any games in that I thought looked particularly new or next gen, and the fact that the Kinect has been removed from the console, from the Xbox One, and that they didn't even mention it. There was no mention of why it's been removed, what this is going to benefit for gamers. There was nothing, and I think it was a public chance for Microsoft to really redeem themselves.
The only thing I saw involving the Kinect from E3 last night was in the Ubisoft conference with that shape-up game.
Oh yeah.
And it looked like basically just like it kind of feels like the Kinect is now an afterthought for Microsoft. Obviously, they've now said that there's going to be the software download which like boosts the graphic capability by basically wiping the Kinect out from the system, which kind of just makes you think, why did they even bother?
Exactly. Why was it there as a standard?
Like, if they'd have just concentrated on making a console instead of trying to make this like interactive media center, I think Xbox would have been a lot more successful than what it has been.
I absolutely agree.
And it also kind of said it all to me that one of Microsoft's like points yesterday was how many units the 360 had sold. Like, who cares now? The 360 and the PS3 are finished.
Yeah.
Not as in finished and people still play them, but Microsoft should not be talking about the Xbox 360 at E3 2004.
No, it's a chance to show something new, isn't it?
Selling the Xbox One, it's not done as well as they'd have hoped, I don't think, and I just think that talking about the 360 at all in their E3 presentation kind of just said we're behind.
Yeah, it was lame. It was really lame. And I think my general opinion then of the Microsoft presentation was they overindulged in new cinematic trailers for these games, and it wasn't. Once again, it was a betrayal of what these games are actually going to look like. And I would be very concerned if I've got an Xbox One, because you're buying games now and you have no idea what it's going to turn out like, and especially in terms of graphics and your resolution. Like the Forza trailer, in fact we skipped over Forza. Once again, your general Forza trailer looks outstanding. It's like a movie.
Just like last
They
year's
look
did.
absolutely beautiful. But then when the game came out, it looked terrible.
It was so different, wasn't it?
Like the castle looks good, but the textures and the environment, they're nowhere near to the standard that are being presented in these trailers. And once again, Microsoft's presentation was exactly that. It was misleading and it was underwhelming. Whereas EA were the middle presentation. In the UK, they started at about 8 PM.
Smashed it.
They were more impressive.
I think with EA, it's just that you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
There's no bullshit. They give you a set of sports games that everyone loves, like NFL, FIFA, hockey.
Yeah,
we obviously saw the new UFC game, which looked really nice.
Yeah, Bruce Lee kicking ass. That looked awesome.
And then they obviously then bring in different like elements to their armory kind of thing with stuff like Battlefront, Mirror's Edge, Sims. And it was just kind of like a general all-round good presentation. They didn't do anything wrong. A few of their things looked amazing. Obviously, Star Wars fans will be absolutely so excited for Battlefront.
Once again, like the main things for EA is that they've got a great alliance with DICE, and therefore the games they just have an extra dynamic that Microsoft just seem to be lacking. And I'm very excited for where EA are going, especially with what's the new. What's it called? The new Ignite. The new
Ignite sports engine, yeah.
Like the FIFA trailer looked absolutely awesome. Like the new contact sort of things.
Yeah, the sports trailers. One of the things that actually EA did, which was amazing, was in their new golf title PGA.
Oh yeah,
running it through Frostbite and introducing fantasy courses, and obviously you got a tiny clip from Paracel Storm map on Battlefield where Ian Poulter was playing golf in Paracel Storm, and then the battleship comes crashing in at sea and you have to hit over the top of it. And I think that like that kind of interactivity that EA bring between DICE and then their Ignite engines for sports and for shooters and action games, it could really just like revamp their sports games.
It could. I'm not sure if I was a hardcore golf fan, I'd like boats coming in on my green.
It's something different though, isn't it?
Yes, it's showing what the engine's capable of, and that is something that Microsoft isn't doing. Yeah. They can't show you what the engine's capable of because the engine is shit. That's the problem they have. Finally then, Sony were the last ones to go. They started presenting at about 2 AM I think at UK time. And for me personally, their presentation was the best by a mile. Like I said before, they started pretty much every video off by saying this is taken straight from a PlayStation 4. You know what you're getting with Sony. The games that they're presenting to you as exclusives and as gameplay trailers, you know what you're getting. It's going to look like that. We've seen it on the consoles already. Anyone that's played Infamous It's the best looking thing I've ever seen. FIFA on a PlayStation 4. The only reason it doesn't look real is because it looks better than real life. The colours are nicer. Yeah. The people are better looking. Like this is why you can trust what Sony are presenting. I am a little bit biased, but I'd love any Microsoft hardcore fan to give me a reason to trust in these trailers that they're presenting, because they're not a real rendition of what this game's going to run like. Like games like the Uncharted trailer, it was only a teaser, but it said early in-game footage, and that's what it is. It was taken straight from a PlayStation 4, and that is what your game's going to look like. Whereas the comparison, you've got like Fable Legends, you've got Halo. Like the Halo 2 remastered version that they showed, it looked rubbish. Like the textures were crap, and they're not giving you next-gen games, Microsoft, whereas Sony, they're confident, they're presenting these games, and it looks awesome. So I'm very excited to be a PlayStation 4 owner, and I trust in Sony what they're delivering. And once again, the general opinion for us from E3 is that Sony are so far ahead of Xbox and Microsoft. It's worrying. It's worrying for Xbox owners and Microsoft fans. So, but we want to hear your opinion. So definitely write in. Send your thoughts in. We'll put this on YouTube. We'll put it on iTunes. We'll put it on the site. So let us know what you think. To end then, let's talk about Destiny. This is a game that it's a kind of modern RPG MMO style. The trailer looks really cool. It was from Sony again. It looked fantastic. I'm not actually sure where this game's going though.
Destiny, the video really confused me. As in, it didn't look like an in-game gameplay video. It still looked amazing, but it didn't. Yeah, it showed the engine, but it didn't really actually give you much of an insight as to what you're actually going to be playing. Are you going to be playing one character? Is it going to be you play a team, or is it how interactive is it going to be? What's the scenarios going to be based on? Is it going to be questing? It looked great, and like the environment looks amazing. But I think for me with Destiny, I still hinging on, is it 100% of what game it wants to be? This
is a game that I want to find out more about. I'm hoping that over the week we do get more of a better look at Destiny. See what the engine's capable of, see where they're going with this game, and just generally find out more about it.
One thing they did announce for Destiny was I think it was on the 17th of July, you'll get access to PlayStation 4 players. Once again, PlayStation taking...
No Xbox.
PlayStation once again taking what they want. We're saying that on the 17th of July, you'll get access to the beta version of Destiny, which is really cool. Because
I missed that.
Obviously, I think that's a couple of months before. I think it's due out in October, is it? Early October. So obviously, you're getting the beta testing now. It gives you a chance to test out the game, to play it, see how you like it.
See, that's great.
And
Sony again.
I think for me that the way that Sony this time, they got probably arguably the two biggest games of the entire conference for me in Destiny and Battlefield Hardline.
Uncharted.
And Uncharted, but then they turned around and was like, right, you can have
a free demo, guys.
You can have the Hardline beta right now, you can have Destiny beta in a month, and it was just those are the kind of things that you want from...
The confident moves that make you trust.
Yeah, totally. It's like, right, we have this game on our console, we are going to say it will work pretty much now. Go and play it, go and do what you want.
Look, we've got these cinematic trailers and it makes things look pretty. P.S. The console won't run this game. I don't know, guys, it's a difficult one. I want to hear your opinion, so definitely write in. Nintendo are going to be on today. I'm really excited to see what Nintendo have got up the sleeve. But write in and I'll get some more articles up. We'll get live responses to everything that's going on at E3. And we'll speak to you later in the week. So say bye-bye, Rhys.
See you guys.
We might get you involved again, Rhys. You did all right there.
Who knows?
Might get you.
There's still loads of E3 to go.
Yeah, there is. So we'll be in touch, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.